Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, race fans of all ages, and welcome to this event here, the Spark Racing League Rescreened LLC Late Model Series. I'm your host, Gareth McAllister, bringing you the action with Team Goon Squad broadcasting in 1080p and 60 FPS. If my Australian internet allows me to do so, we're here at Lime Rock Park, bringing machines here that really don't deserve to be on this track here with these late models. Now we have 1.53 miles of Lime Rock Park tonight, and we've already got some fans in the spectator area. Kenneth Gauman has some love from the fans, so already a lot of love all round for these drivers, which is absolutely fantastic to see. Now as we get ready, because we're going to get gridded up in just a bit after the warm-up takes place, which all drivers are now currently making their way out on track. And we'll take a little bit of a look-see-loo there, as we might see some early shenanigans from some of these drivers before they get ready and they just get their final kit dialed in. Now, pit speed tonight is a 45-mile-an-hour pit speed, but we don't expect people to be pitting at all this race. If you do, you might find yourself that you've wadded something up a little bit early. Driver standings heading into this race, though. Justin Brooks well ahead of the lead. Dalton Creech in the second position, with Kenny Troughton sitting in third. Kenneth Gallman, as we said, love from the fans already, sitting in the fourth spot overall, with Devon Jack in the top 5 positions. Justin Brooks currently out in the lead, as we said, has won all 4 races so far. We are in the 5th of the 8-race season here tonight, as we look forward to some pretty intense action. Now, a reminder that these drivers have an interesting decision to make when it comes to the points, whether they decide to push as hard as possible, or if they decide to take it a little bit easier and take all the championship points they can get, because this is a series that will give a payout to the winners and the top 5 championship points paying positions. So definitely something to fight for all of these drivers. It looks like we're going to have around about 20 cars making their way out tonight, as Kenneth Gellman there goes for a little bit of a ride over into the grass. And we'll pan the camera back just a little bit, back to Dade Grajewski. Once again, thank you very much for tuning in. It is an absolute pleasure to have you here, joining us for this race with the Spark Racing League once again. Taking over in the absence of Mr. James East, your usual commentator, who should be back next week. And that will bring an end to the warm-up. So we're going to get ready, and it's going to be good. I'm very much excited. I hope you are as well. As we bring the drivers onto the grid. And speaking of, let's go through it. Devon Jack going to be starting on pole. Absolutely phenomenal start from him, showing Justin Brooks that he is not here to play around, with Brooks starting in the second position. Third is Johnny Rapp with Payday Racing. Behind him with Samuel Stoner in the fourth position. Nick Beaver, the arriving driver, in the fifth spot, with Nick Lujet in the sixth position. Kenny Troughton, as I said, not one that wanted to show up tonight, but we've made him stay for you up here in the spectator area. He has been wanted and he's been requested, so he's going to be forced to start this one in the seventh spot. Lucas Longmire in the eighth position alongside him. Jared Slawn-White in the 9th position with Ray Beebe in the 10th spot. Dade Grajewski in the 11th position with Benson Weaver in 12th as we knock the grid back a little bit. Robert Lytle is going to be in 13th with Robert Brobst in the 14th position. The two Robs starting next to each other. Brian Brobst as well in the 15th position with Hunter Cole in 16th. Kenneth Gallman in 17th with Clifton Simmons in 18th. Dilton Potts 19th. Nathan Gentry in the 20th spot. Sean Johnson in 21st. And we are underway as we wrap up the grid as quickly as possible. Not too much time for these drivers to get settled as they head into turn one. A little bit of contact already between Devon Jack and Justin Brooks. Already on the start line, how will Jack rejoin? And it looks quite calm, and there goes the 29 machine off already as well. Joining back very nicely was Jared Slawn-White. So looking back there in the 12th position, Devon Jack forced back into the 13th spot as cars are still trying to find their footing here. A little bit of two-wide action as we went up the hill down to the backstretch. It's going to be legit. And I believe that's going to be Rapp right next to him. And Rapp takes the spot. All these drivers having a little bit of problems early on in the race, especially in the practice session. But so far, it seems pretty clean as far as we can tell, which is always great news to see. Sean Johnson making a move there for the 14th spot underneath Robert Lytle. Gets it done nice and clean, using all of the available racetrack to really cut down the lap times. So speaking of lap times, it's going to be very, very quick. Less than a minute for some of these drivers per lap. As Nick Leggett goes around the outside of Johnny Rapp to take that spot back. Got some support from the fans for the 155. Go Longmire as Ray Beebe makes a position on Longmire. And he has a little bit of an issue. Commentator's curse once again, bringing it home. Making sure that it's going to make issues for some of the drivers. But here he is sitting in the 14th position now. Losing quite a few in that exchange. He's trying to work his way back to the front. Just saw Sean Johnson make a nice little undertake maneuver on Slawn-White for the 12th spot. Sean Johnson is already on the move, up 9 spots from where he began this race. This race is looking very calm and collected. Up front, we've got a very close battle between 2nd and 3rd position, Stoner and Beaver. A lot of these drivers, as I said, they are not ready, or I say not ready, they are not used to driving on a road course, and there's a little bit of an example of that as Stoner dives it in just a little bit too deep. Beaver tucks down the inside, gets the spot. Devon Jack's going to do the exact same thing underneath Grajewski. Makes it work. Benson Weaver just in front there, looking at this long line behind him. From the back bumper of Benson Weaver now. And it is an absolute hornet's nest behind that 8th spot. As almost contact between a couple of the drivers just behind. I believe that was Grajewski involved a little bit of that, but he managed to keep it clean and is now back up driving in the correct direction in the 11th spot. As you can see there, Devon Jack looking for another maneuver now on Benson Weaver. Sick of staying behind. And he's going to make that potential 3-wide action. Ooh, that was looking close with Longmire trying to get all the spots back that he lost earlier in the exchange. And back up into the 12th spot as Johnson goes round. A little bit of a self-spin, just too much power. And losing a ton of spots. all the way into that 21st position before he can get back up to speed. Hunter Cole in the 15th spot, looking like he's ready to race. Jared Slawn-White now falling back to the 17th position. I believe 16th, excuse me. Going a little bit further up the field, 8th and 9th, excuse me, 9th and 10th. Benson Weaver losing the spot to Robert Brobst, making that one stick quite nicely. Dylan Potts also making a move on Robert Lytle for the 13th position. There is a lot of overtaking maneuvers being made at Lime Rock Park, especially into turn 1. And that's where we're always going to see some overtakes unless there's a little bit of a bobble from some of these drivers. And there was one from Grajewski. He's going to be a little bit too close to Longmire, who shuts the door and makes sure that he retains that 11th place position as they head on up the hill in the backstretch. Now, Lime Rock Park has always produced some high quality action, and there is no shortage of that once again. Very short circuit, very high drama. And we're still watching some of the closest battle on track at the moment. Dylan Potts still trying to make his way up the standings. There's Grajewski on the outside, both locking up a little bit. Longmire as well. Potts almost getting involved in an incident, thankfully avoiding all other drivers, and Robert Lydell is going to say thank you very much for that 13th spot and make his way up there, and maybe one more. With it looked like Grajewski went a little bit wide, but was able to tuck in front again. Potentially a little bit of drama happening just a little bit further back. It looked like Nathan Gentry was trying to make a move on Hunter Cole for the 16th position, unable to get it done. And we're going to have to pan the camera back up to the front. We might do so in just a second. Look at that overtake. Nathan Gentry getting it done. As Cole goes back a few spots, we're going to go back up to the front. Justin Brooks and Nick Beaver side by side. A little bit of a bump and run. Justin Brooks wanting to retain that spot. Beaver says no, going to hang it to the inside line. Battle for the lead. They are still driving beautifully side by side, unbelievably able to keep the cars off each other. And the 33 and the 10 are absolutely ripping it around. Not too far behind them though. Stoner and Lujet are not too far. These drivers are absolutely flying and making it look so easy. Reckon we'll jump on board with the gyro cam of Nick Beaver as he chases Justin Brooks for that lead. Up the hill, you can see absolutely nothing at all except the rear bumper of Brooks right in front. As these drivers are absolutely on edge, ripping it around with a 53-second lap time following in the draft of each other. Beaver really wanting every advantage possible, but it's not going to be enough heading into turn 1. And Brooks is going to still retain the position. As I said, another close battle for the 3rd position, as well as further back in the pack. But right now, your closest battle definitely up front. Benson Weaver and Longmire fighting for the 10th position. Just changing it hands right then and there. Longmire takes it away. Nicely done indeed. As we don't want to stray too far away from this battle up front. Between 3rd, it looks like is going to be interesting. Stoner is under fire right now. Lujet is just making that dive, and he's going to make that work. Apologies for the potential butchering of that surname. But the 00 machine is absolutely moving right now. Actually setting an identical best lap with the 2 leaders in front. So definitely no slouch there either, as Dylan Potts makes his way underneath Radjuski, almost getting into contact, the two of them. And that's going to allow Sloan White to maybe get another spot. And does so as he's trying to hang on. Radjuski goes out wide into the grass. Ray Beebe also has his hands full with Kenny Troughton. Once again, did not want to show up for this race. Was very anti-Lime Rock Park. But we made him show. And he's sticking with it and showing that he has pace as well. And there you go. All you need is a little bit of a mistake, as what just happened to Ray Beebe. And Kenny Troughton takes over the 6th place spot. Just like that, we are looking right up front once again, side by side up the hill. And there's contact between the 2 leaders. Brooks goes round, hits back into Beaver. The leaders all of a sudden changed hands. And up front, Nick is going to say thank you very much. Luigi is going to just absolutely take over the lead. He has been gifted a miracle. Have a look at that one once more. And just contact going up the hill. Not enough room for both drivers right next to each other carrying that much speed. And unfortunately, the contact was made. So all of a sudden, these drivers are making up spots based on attrition more than anything else. Devin Jack in the 7th place spot, hunting Kenny Troughton right ahead. Who himself has lost that place once again to Ray Beebe. Beebe pushes just a little wide. Troughton might take advantage. Decides not to follow along in the draft. But Devin's not got the message, and he's going to send it to the inside and hold that possession. And potential battle for the 2nd place as Beaver gets his place back up into 2nd over Samuel Stoner. And they separate a little bit, just about half a second now, as we look back at what happened, or what is going on, I should say, with Devin Jack, as he is making his way just barely around Ray Beebe. And as we saw before, up that hill is very, very dangerous. They've got to make sure they keep off contact with each other. Phenomenal driving. Longmire getting still heaps of love from the fans, sitting in 10th place right now. I believe he has never raced in an official race on the iRacing service. And in terms of a road course, and you can only admire him, his determination, and look what he's doing right now, up in the 10th position. What a phenomenal drive from that man, Lucas Longmire. As he crests the curb and potentially is thinking about a move on Robert Bropes just in front. On the nose of Longmire now, looking towards Bropes. Absolutely love this shot. It gives you a real sense of the speed that these cars are running at. Down into the Sam Posey straight, going into the corner. And almost making a dive there. Rope's not quite as happy to send it to the inside of the corner. And Longmire still on the hunt. Speaking of Kenny Troughton, Justin Brooks is right in tow, and there's a car on the outside. That was about as close as you could get, really, with that car who was, I believe, a lap down. And geez, Justin Brooks almost on the back bumper of Troughton again. And this man is absolutely on a mission right now to gain back what he has lost, as he is now on the hunt for Ray Beebe right in front. Brooks back up to the 7th place position. Only 14 laps to go, so we're just past the halfway mark in this one. And a little bit more of a battle going on, a little bit further back. The 14th position, 13th just changed hands. Sloan White took over from Weaver. That 13th place battle. But further towards the front. Look at that mess. As Brooks finds himself still right behind Beebe. Wants to take it away and does so. Beebe now going to have some company with Troughton. Holds off Troughton once more. Troughton thought about sending it to the inside there. Probably lucky he didn't, as we definitely would have had some contact made there. But Brooks is on the warpath right now, trying to get as many positions back as possible to hold on to his championship lead. Kenny Troughton still fighting with Ray Beebe. Troughton just looks a little bit more composed in that machine, the 25 machine, but Ray Beebe is making sure that the 89 is as wide as possible to keep Kenny behind him. And here comes Dylan Potts underneath Lytle. Take the 11th spot away. Benson Weaver just on the underside of Jared Sloan White as well. And there goes Troughton under Beebe. All of a sudden we have a small gap in battles. And then they're all right back. Beebe sends it to the inside of Troughton. Once again, they're side by side. These two have not been able to let each other go. Plenty of room being given between the two drivers. Still a tiny bit of contact heading into the second part of that long right-hander. And I believe Troughton is going to solidify himself in that spot right now. Devin Jack almost involved in an incident with Brooks now, as Brooks took the spot away up into the top 5. We heard a little bit of an incident. I believe it was Sean Johnson went off track and had maybe a bit of a nasty incident. Let's take a quick look at that one. Oh, no. Oh, and that's a very hard lick to the inside wall there. Being sent from that outer barrier. And Justin Brooks is still holding on to that top 5. Devin Jack, though, certainly no slouch when it comes to pace and looks just slightly further back. Got some lap traffic right in front of Kenny Troughton, who's still trying desperately to hold off Beebe, and lap traffic, all sorts of craziness trying to get out of the way of the leaders. And we've got another battle going on once again between Weaver and Sloan White. These two can't let go of each other either, as almost contact thankfully jumping on the brakes. Jared Sloanwhite doing a fantastic job there, not getting involved in any kind of incident with another driver, and having to give up the position in doing so. Let's not take our eyes off that timing and scoring sheet on the left-hand side of your screen, because Beaver's been catching up to try something with the lead battle ever so slowly. And while we were talking about that, Troughton once again lost the spot to Beeb. These two drivers are leapfrogging around Lime Rock Park, and it is definitely something to watch right now. Only 8 laps to go left in this race. As Troughton has to let Beeb go. Beeb just got a much better run out of the final corner. Able to absolutely maximize the distance between the two drivers. As we look back up front, because here come the leaders. That's going to be a bit of a sketchy pass on Beaver's behalf, and allow Leggett to just get a little bit further away. As they came past some lap traffic there. 7 to go here at Lime Rock Park. A very, very quick race, and a very entertaining one at that. As Beaver tries desperately to catch up. And Louet tries desperately to hold him off. 1 second back. And it is a second a lap with 6 laps to go. Oh, sorry, a minute a lap. Not a second lap, that would be insane. As Beaver continues the hunt, but it looks like it may be for naught at the moment. We'll have to see. Commentator's curse hopefully not reeling its ugly head into this one. As more battles continue. Lone White is trying to chase down Weaver once more. Rajewski has a bit of an incident. Way off the racetrack. Getting back on nice and cleanly though. Sitting in the 16th position. Slightly further up in the field, Dylan Potts still trying to hold on to the 11th spot. As Lytle is coming on quickly. Guarding the inside line is Potts. Lytle not close enough to make a dive for it. A lot of the times with these machines, it's more about how you manage the slide on exit of these corners, and they do have the leaders right behind them, so this is going to be very interesting. They're involved in their own battle, and the two Knicks are involved in a battle for a lead. They're going to want them to get out of the way as quickly as possible. And Leggett gets past 1. Gets past 2. Now it's Nick's turn. How quickly will he be able to pass these two? Stuck on the outside again on the second final corner. And that has been costing Beaver time every single lap so far that he has met traffic. It has been in that exact same spot. And Luech is just able to keep the front going. And really widen that gap up thanks to lap traffic with a little bit of an assist. Last time by, Luech, as I said, has done just a sub 54 with a 53.9. Nick Beaver with a 54.2 with that lap traffic. Both of these drivers have a best lap time absolutely identical to one another, and Internet potentially rearing its ugly head for the leader. Thankfully, brings it back down, able to pop back into existence in the lead and maintain it. Rajewski, we got a report having issues once again. Not quite able to find his footing at the moment as Brobst tries to make a move to the inside. That's Ryan. That's Brian Brobst hitting that inside curb. We did hear a report earlier on that curb can be something between 6 to 8 inches high off of the racing line. So those curbs, they might look quite low to the ground, but nothing of the sort as the leaders get round to 2 laps to go. Oh, and that's going to cost Luget. This is going to be very interesting. Beaver's going to get a massive advantage behind that lap traffic. Lap traffic comes back in front of Beaver. That is Robert Brobst. Well, Robert Brobst still holding up Beaver on that inside line. Beaver's not going to be happy about that one. Pushing wide. Will Beaver get through? No. And yes, going to have to force the issue if he wants any hope. But that has cost him a good second after he was able to close that gap to 3/10 back up to a second once again. Justin Brooks with an interesting moment with Johnny Rapp at the 52 just in front. There's another lap traffic car off the outside. And it got very dicey for a second. White flag is out. An absolute slam between these two drivers for the 4th position. And Brooks got shunted out of the way as the final lap looms. The elbows are all out. And speaking of, a little bit of a spin from Lucas Longmire. That's going to be heartbreaking for the fans as we're still going to watch this earlier on. No prisoners taken, no love is lost. The two Knicks going at it to the final 2 corners. One turn left, a little bit of a spin from Luget in the first place position. Beaver's going to be on the outside though. That's not going to be preferred at all. Enough room has to be left, and it is. A little bit of a cut off the exit. And Luech is going to take that first place position. Beaver's going to be have to be happy with second, and Stoner is going to roll it down in 3rd position. Johnny Rapp keeping Justin Brooks behind. Justin Brooks completely off-tracking it, and he's going to be finishing in the 5th position here tonight. What an absolutely incredible turn of events and amazing racing from these drivers. I'm glad I was able to bear witness, and I hope you were just as excited as I was for that absolutely phenomenal display of racing and racecraft from these drivers. Stopping on the finish line, that is Nick Luech. Stopping right there, showing us a nice looking vehicle as we pull up the results for you here tonight. And there they are. Nick Luget, as we said, still probably butchering that name. We will definitely get a definitive answer from him when we talk to him in the booth. Nick Beaver in the 2nd spot. Samuel Stoner in 3rd. Johnny Rapp in the 4th position with Justin Brooks in the 5th spot after having to come all the way back after that incident. Devon Jack in the 6th spot with Ray Beebe in 7th, and Kenny Troughton unable to get the best of Beebe in the 8th position. Robert Brobst in the ninth position with Dylan Potts rounding out our top 10. And while we prepare for driver interviews, we will scan the results back just a little bit and show you the rest of the drivers that made their way out to tonight's event. Righty, as we get ready to do some driver interviews, first up is going to be Samuel Stoner. Samuel, welcome to the booth. Nice to have you here. How was that race from your perspective? It looked pretty clean out there.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of formed myself into a little bubble there and just sort of drove through. We had a little bit of lap car excitement happening, but I mean, they were doing the best they could. This track was pretty tough to actually get around anybody at, as you saw from our leaders.
Yeah, now tell us, what was the big strategy heading through this race? Because it looked like it was pretty nice and clean drive from you. I know a few positions may have come your way just through attrition more than anything else. And ultimately, was the goal to just keep it calm and consistent here tonight?
Yeah, I didn't want to burn up that left front. It was looking pretty weak right there at the end. I was at 48% on the inside edge, so a little further, we probably would have blown it out, or if I pushed a little harder, probably would have blown it out.
Gee, that doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence, but we're glad you made it to the end and you made it look so, I don't want to say easy, but you definitely made it look under control, and a very, very strong performance from you, Sam. Before we let you go, who would you like to shout out to for your third place here tonight? Family, friends, sponsors, the floor is yours.
Oh, we got the family watching. My grandpa and my dad. I know for sure. Um, any of my other family members that might have got the link to this thing or tune in because they subscribe to Goon Squad. You know, thank you guys. Uh, yeah, and thank you to Gareth here for stepping in for this broadcast.
Well, thank you very much, Sam. It's been an absolute pleasure. We would like to thank your family for joining in and tuning in as well. Hopefully, I know you did them proud. So we'll let you go, Sam, and we look forward to maybe seeing you in the next race up here once again in the podium.
Yes, sir. North Wilkesboro. Let's see how that goes.
All right, take care. Have a good one.
That's it.
All right, that was Samuel Stoner bringing it home in the third place position. Next up, Nick Beaver in the second spot. Now, Nick, let us know what your thoughts on that race was, especially it has to be said. I know you probably don't want us to bring it up, but it has to be done. That contact between yourself and Justin Brooks.
Yeah, I've been watching it back over and over here, and it. I probably could have gave more room for sure. Um, yeah, it's really a tough one. I was surprised I was able to get it to grip up on the outside just enough to. It looks like I was about at his door, but I did have some asphalt on the left that I could have run up on. But at the top of the hill, it gets very dicey, and there's the grass there, so I was just trying to avoid the grass. But yeah, I can sit and analyze it all night, but in the moment, it happens in a second, and it's just, I guess, trying to think that fast is pretty tough. So yeah, I feel really bad because for Justin especially, because it was going to be a fun race. I was looking forward to see how that was going to play out. I wish we could do this over again because it was fun while it lasted. I feel really bad that it had to end that way.
Well, look, in light of that, it still was an absolutely epic battle between yourself and first place, and we'll talk about that as well because that was a decent battle on top of what you had with Brooks, and it seemed like, I mean, the battles never really ended for you, and lap traffic held you up quite a bit, unfortunately. It's no fault of their own, I'm sure, but it's so hard to pass lap traffic, it looked like here at Lone Rock Park.
Yeah, definitely. Just trying to get a run on anybody here was tough. The lap traffic kept it interesting. There were some times that it didn't benefit me, and then right at the end there, Nick got Well, he had to take out a lap car just to maintain the lead, and I don't blame him for that. So yeah, it was interesting in its own right getting around those guys, but yeah, it was a fun race. I was battling some damage at the end. Would have been I think it could have been a little closer, the battle between Nick and Nick, but it is what it is, and I guess a P2 isn't so bad.
Not at all. You sound a little bit more dejected than I'd like, if I'll be honest with you, Nick. But look, it's always fun talking to you, and we all know that you're a lovable guy at heart. So we will leave you, but before we do, friends, family, sponsors, it is your time to shout them out. Second place, you might be a little bit upset about it, but it's certainly nothing to be upset about.
Yeah, a P2 is nice. Again, sorry, Justin. I didn't want it to end that way. But congrats to Nick for the win. And then I know I've got a lot of people watching, so I'll just try to name them off real quick. Let's see. There's Mike, Jerry, Barb, Jerry. There might be Doug, maybe Nick, anyone at J2I for watching, and then a special shout out to my real life sponsor, Dave at Corey Cleaning Products. The car you see on screen is very close to identical to what's in real life, so it's cool to represent the real sponsors in the fake racing.
But I just want a quick insight from you, Nick. How does the racing compare inside the sim versus being a real life driver in these machines?
I will say the racing itself is very close. I genuinely think it's easier in real life to race door to door. If you recall the slinger race last week not being very good on here, I think genuinely it would be easier in real life. And as far as the car drives, this car is a little different in the form that it has truck arms for back suspension, but for the most part, I don't know. It's hard to say if you don't do it, side by side. But at the very least, you get the racing racecraft out of it, and I think that applies both to real life and iRacing very well.
All right. Well, that was some nice driver insight from you, Nick Beaver. Thank you once again. But we're going to have to let you go, and I'm sure we will maybe talk to you next week, if not in some recurring weeks and maybe even some other shows. I know you like to work your way around between series.
Yep, absolutely. I look forward to talking to you again, Gareth.
All right, sounds good, Nick. Nick, we will see you later, my friend.
Take care.
You too. All right, that was Nick Beaver up in the second spot, but now we bring in the leader. And forgive me if I'm butchering your name for a little bit, Nick. I apologize wholeheartedly, and I think I've done so all this race. But is it Nick Luech, or am I close?
It's pronounced Lucci, so think of just Gucci with an L, and it's spelled funny. I get it. I tend to give a lot of people obviously the benefit of the doubt, and I just have fun with it at this point to let people try to pronounce it. But no, it's definitely a tongue twister for some.
Yeah, it is a little bit, but that aside, because that may be the name, but I tell you what, the racing speaks for itself, and you're up front most of the race once that little bit of contact. I don't want to say gifted you the lead, but it definitely helped in giving you the lead. You had pace in your own right, though. Don't get me wrong. And what was it just euphoria when you saw those two come together, or was it right now I've got to make sure I keep them behind me and just pedal to the metal?
Well, obviously, first off, I definitely thought that it was gifted. Once I come up the hill and I see a bunch of tire smoke and two cars, obviously well off the pace, I just knew that just in the handful of laps that we had beforehand, I knew that I just needed to hopefully, quote unquote, just get around them and keep the nose clean, and luckily we did. And then after that, it was just try to stay clean and get through traffic as good as we could. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely it was definitely kind of just thrown into my lap there once that contact happened. And obviously Nick drove a great race to get back to me to make that finish exciting at the end for everyone watching.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking at the lap times. I must say your best lap was the exact same time as Nick Beaver in the second place behind you. So, I mean, there was really not much in it at all. And lap traffic was the biggest factor. We thought that maybe, especially with like about 3 laps to go, that you might be caught up by Beaver there, and then he got held up in an equal part. So it made it quite fair and interesting all the same. But look, Nick, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and I'm going to have to give you the shout outs for an absolutely a brilliant drive. Fantastic stuff. Who would you like to shout out to? Friends, family, sponsors for the win here tonight?
Oh yeah, definitely. Obviously, thanks for all the kind words. Obviously, traffic did, obviously, as you said, play the biggest factor, and I do want to go ahead and apologize to Lucas for what happened right after the technical section. But yeah, no, like you said, a shout out to Evan Pienta and Tony Caputo. I was in class with them a couple hours ago, and obviously I was given an invite for this right as we were leaving at about 7 o'clock, and I said, let's do it. So definitely shout out to Evan, Tony, Jacob Bradley, everyone else in the IEPUI gang here in Indianapolis. Obviously shout out to everyone in this league. There was obviously there was a bit of contact, but for such a tight road course here, especially with some people that are learning, it's gonna happen. And obviously, as I said, me driving over Lucas was 100% on me. He was just trying to get out of the way. So it's part of it. But no, definitely. Obviously, a shout out to Nick Beaver and to Sam, Johnny, Justin. We were all super fast, and yeah, no, I definitely thought that a podium was going to be in the cards, and then as soon as that wreck happened up the hill, I thought, okay, well, this we're gonna race for one now. But no, as always, thanks for having me, and we'll see if we can tag along for another race.
Yeah, Nick, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you. We hope to see you do well once again. The Crown Jewel race at North Wilkesboro next week. And we'll keep tabs on just how you're going. I know you're going to work your way up through the championship standings if this form continues as well. So it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and I guess we'll catch you next time.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Right, that was Nick. I'm already gonna stuff that name up again if I attempt it, so I think I just won't because I've already forgotten I have the mind of a goldfish up here in the booth, so I do try my best, but sometimes it just isn't good enough. But that was Nick Leggett. I'm gonna say that one more time as he made his way across the line on screen once again. So on behalf of Team Goon Squad and the Spark Racing League Rescreened LLC Late Model Tour, thank you very much for joining us on stream for another epic week of fantastic racing, this time at Lime Rock Park. We look forward to seeing you next week at North Wilkesboro. Make sure you tune in, same time, same place. We'll be here. Thank you very much. See you then.